Like between right now and 2028, the online virtual training industry is expected to grow by 170%. And so in 2021, it was valued at $33 billion. And by 2028, it's expected to hit $434 billion. Even if you are not that great at marketing and sales and stuff, if you're just okay and you stick with it for long enough, by 2028, it's gonna grow. That's how Amazon grew. The way Amazon grew was they looked at the growth of the internet and people purchasing on the internet, and they said, well, even if we just tap into this industry and we grow at the rate that it's expected to grow, we're probably gonna grow. Is that if you run the math and you think about how many of those adults are overweight, something like 70%, either obese, overweight, and then of those people, 70% are active on social media. So when you run the numbers and you think about how many people are personal trainers or coaches versus people who need help outnumber coaches 1,000 to 1. You've got to understand how to properly attract, sell, and get those people to become clients.
Totally. I will say, if you want to charge what you're worth, right? Like you could probably be just like every other fitness coach and charge $100 a month.
Yeah. What's up, guys? Welcome back to the FitBiz Podcast. First time in a long time, Erin and I are on an episode together where we are going to do a game show. In this game show.
A game show, huh?
That's right. Erin has no idea what's going on here.
Okay.
This game show I like to call Big Facts or BS, okay? All right, so how this is gonna work is I'm gonna ask Erin a series of questions and she is gonna identify whether that, well, it's not really questions, they're statements, and whether the statement is a big fact or big bullshit, BS, all right?
What's my prize if I win?
Well, the prize is you're gonna get something that's either illegal, banned in most countries, or it might also be alive, and it's probably going to be super dirty and something you're not going to want to do while pregnant.
Surprise. All right, let's play.
All right, let's do it. So big facts or BS. The online health and fitness industry is too saturated for anybody to really compete and make real money these days.
Well, it depends. I'll call BS if you know what you're doing. It's completely a fact if you're just like every other fitness coach. If you're trying to target busy professionals who want to lose weight, then yeah, it's pretty saturated. You sound like everybody else. And really the only way you're going to succeed is if you have a really large audience or a viral body. But if you can focus on your offer and have a unique and specific way that you help people, that it doesn't rely on, the things that I just mentioned, like being viral, having a huge audience, that people are specifically coming to you to solve that problem in that way, then it's not too saturated.
Yeah. No, it makes sense. You can also look at it from a pure number standpoint too, right? Between right now and 2028, the online virtual training industry is expected to grow by 170%. And so in 2021, it was valued at $33 billion. And by 2028, it's expected to hit $434 billion. So like in some ways, even if you are not that great at marketing and sales and stuff, if you're just okay and you stick with it for long enough, by 2028, it's going to grow. That's how Amazon grew.
Yeah, there's a lot more people who need help than those who are helping. Yeah, good point.
The way Amazon grew was they looked at the growth of the internet and people purchasing on the internet, and they said, well, even if we just tap into this industry and we grow at the rate that it's expected to grow, we're probably going to grow. Because at that time, it was growing like 2,000%, year after year. Is that if you run the math and you think about how many US adults there are, and then how many of those adults are overweight, it's something like 70%, either obese, overweight. And then of those people, 70% are active on social media. So when you run the numbers and you think about how many people are personal trainers or coaches versus people who need help outnumber coaches 1,000 to 1. It's like, man, the opportunity's out there. But to Erin's point, you've got to understand how to properly attract, sell, and get those people to become clients.
Totally. I will say, if you want to charge what you're worth, right? Like you could probably be just like every other fitness coach and charge $100 a month.
Yeah, true. All right. Big facts or BS. This is an off the cuff one. It is perfectly reasonable and likely that you can start an online health or fitness coaching business with $0 startup capital, purely $0, nothing invested, and ultimately have success, meaning you can grow to multiple six figures.
You're saying go all that way to six figures without ever spending $1?
Exactly. And when I say spending $1, like investing in your business, like startup capital, right?
Yeah, I would say BS. Well, I mean, no business in the world, right? You're going to need software. There's going to be some type of overhead. You're going to need something. We're so fortunate in the online space that it's like pennies compared to opening a brick and mortar, but you're going to need something. And just like shameless plug here, you can invest in people like IFCA who've done the thing to help you do it. So it just kind of depends if you value your time or you value your money more.
Yeah.
But yeah, if you want to start a business, a real business, you have to invest capital in that business.
Totally agree. It's like, say you wanted to start a franchise, right? You wanted to open up, let's say a Subway. You're going to have to invest in that franchise. And what do they provide you is, real estate contracts. They help you get the land, all the equipment. Then you have the building, the lease, and all these startup costs. That is the property that you have to invest in to then turn a profit. With an online business, it's intellectual property. It's the knowledge gap that you don't have to learn how to actually implement it. And because it's not physical, people don't value it as much, right?
Yeah.
Because with like a building, you can say, okay, I'm investing to get that building. But that building is just as important as the intellectual knowledge that you need to be able to do an online business, if that makes any sense.
Yeah.
But the cool thing is about an online business is like, you don't have to pay for a franchise where you have to pay a startup fee and monthly royalties. Like monthly royalties, you just invest one time for the information and then you get to use that for life. So, all right, here's a good one. Big facts or BS. I am the best lover that you have ever had. And I'm talking about sex. The best person for sex.
I'm talking about sex. Just third best count.
Okay, cut that part. I'll take third. That's not bad. I mean, third out of third out of 500 isn't bad.
Your ego's massive. Next question.
You didn't hear that joke, though, did you? Like 3 out of 500 isn't bad.
I'm not listening to you.
All right, big facts or BS. I would survive longer than you on a deserted island.
Hell no. Absolutely not. You'd want to have a sauna, a cold plunge.
Hey, it's a deserted island. That would be really hot.
No.
This is a good one. Big facts or BS. AI is going to replace online fitness coaches.
Oh, no. There's a really great quote that you shared with me, and I might butcher it. Stop me if I do. Actually, share it. The Harvard one about humans with AI.
Yeah, it's an awesome quote. It's AI will not replace humans, but humans with AI will replace humans who do not use AI.
Yes, exactly. And so, I do think fitness coaches, personal trainers, they're at a disadvantage in this way because I find that many of them are not extremely growth-minded and they can be stuck in their ways. And so, this thing like AI comes along and people aren't using it. And it's so unfortunate when they don't, because it is a cheat code in business right now.
Yeah.
Yesterday, as I was creating content, writing ad scripts, I mean, even just like basic math, anything, you leverage AI. It's so important. And so it doesn't have to replace people, but it will replace some people because some people will fail to ever adapt it.
Yeah, I agree. Another way to think about it is like the dildo didn't replace real dicks. It just kind of complemented them, right? And so, but you could argue that once the Tesla bot actually comes into mass production and you can actually have sex robots, that actually might replace real dicks. But yeah, I mean, it's a advent, it's a supplement, right? And so like the big thing though is if you're using AI for, let's say, content creation, which is probably the most popular use case right now. The big thing that you can't have to do is to create your own opinions, right? Your own unique angles on things.
Yeah, for sure.
Because that's really what people want to know. And that's what's entertaining.
Yeah.
Because otherwise you're just repeating information. But if you can use that tool to come up with ideas and then you think always as a thought leader, what do I think about that? Do I agree with it or disagree?
Yeah.
Either way gives you a thesis to which to argue your point.
Right. Well, and especially if you've documented well, the one thing that you've done with Claude and our company is taken all of our company resources and so many things that we've said, here's how we teach this, here's how we think, here's how we believe. And now we just prompt our little assistant who is our second brain.
Yeah.
It's crazy. So if you're a coach who has a lot of these things, we're getting kind of technical here, but you have lots of client programs, you have lots of your philosophies and stuff written down.
Yeah.
I mean, you really can train these things up to help so much.
Yeah, no doubt. All right, big facts or BS. You must have at least 10,000 followers on social media in order to build a successful online fitness business. And let's clarify what we mean successful. I think if you're not doing at least $15,000 per month, you're not successful yet.
Yeah.
Personally.
No, absolutely not. I would say that was the case in like 2016, 2017, 2018. But hell, if you were running ads back then, it was also a freaking playground. It's so easy. But organic was so easy back then. You could have a successful business doing that. If you aren't already at that 10,000 follower mark, don't put your effort and focus into that. Just getting leads, paying for attention is so much easier than hoping the algorithm likes you and you'll go viral. Most of our clients at that level don't have 10,000 followers.
Yeah, it's true. I think the big shift is that nowadays content its main purpose is not to serve getting you leads, it's to nurture the leads that you get in another way.
Totally.
So if you can get leads through, let's say, paid ads, but then you still have content to warm those leads up to build trust, great. Then eventually something will pop.
Yeah.
Right?
And I'd add too, I've been talking to a lot of people recently who have 50,000, 60,000, 70,000 followers. And I ask them, how many new leads are you getting?
Yeah.
And they don't even know what I mean. They're like, here's how many sales calls I have. Here's how many closes I have. And I said, no. New people, new leads coming in, because the reason your business is declining is because you grew that big audience 4 years ago and you nurtured the hell out of them. You've promoted the hell out of them. You've thrown so many things at them. They've heard it. You do need new people. You even run out when you have 10,000 followers.
Yeah. And the way that the Instagram reach has been declining, it's like that 70,000 followers every year, less and less of that 70,000. You're losing followers, basically.
Yeah, you're losing followers. You're losing people, your followers who are there, who see it. Yeah.
Let's do one more. All right, big facts or BS. Clients drop off because they are ultimately lazy and unmotivated, and that's their problem, not a your problem.
As I'm writing my speech for the next legacy event, I'm actually talking about hiring, retaining A players. And I'm talking a lot about like assistant coaches and handling clients and things like this. And this is just something I've seen in our students' businesses and our businesses. And, one of our company core values is authentic connection and being able to handle that. So my opinion is that is a coach's job.
Yeah.
People don't hire you because they're highly motivated and ready to hold themselves accountable and ready to follow your perfect plan. Like the definition of a coach is those things. So I think a lot of coaches, they're too like clinically minded. Here's the prescribed thing, follow it, rather than coach minded and having skills of empathy and things like that to walk people through those. They don't have the conversation skills. They don't have the frameworks. Like when a student says to us, like, what do I do? This coach wants a refund. We're just like, follow this framework, do this thing, ask these questions, right? So I think you can't put that on the client. That's a deficit in coaching.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. Two things I'll add to this. There are two different points I'll make. Number one, they did this study one time with a group of, I think it was 100 overweight Americans, and they put them in a clinical metabolic ward, and they split them in two. So half of the group they had follow like your typical caloric deficit, right? Here is your prescription of how you're going to eat. And group two, they actually didn't prescribe any kind of like dietary intervention. They just did therapy, like psychotherapy, just talking to them.
Dude, if that's not what coaching is.
Right. Well, guess which group lost way more weight.
Right.
And if you're not sure, it's not the diet group, right?
Yeah.
And so like, obviously, if you can pair those two things together,
for sure,
you're in a great spot. Yeah. Number two, point that you made, one of our mentors told us this one time because we actually got on a call with them complaining about clients, like, oh, this, that. He's like, listen, what problem did you guys get in this industry to solve? And we're like, well, we want to help women, reach their dream body, restore their hormonal health, all these things. It's like, yeah, you're complaining about solving the problem in which you said you wanted to solve.
Yeah, you're going to have that problem.
Yeah.
You're going to attract that very thing.
Yeah, people, if they're overweight because they're unmotivated, because they're not disciplined, that's your job.
Yeah.
All right, guys. Well, if you found this format entertaining and fun, we're going to come back and do a lot more of these. And if you guys found this useful or interesting, let us know. Check us out on Instagram. And as always, if you guys found this useful, maybe share it with a friend and leave us a rating and review. It takes 5 seconds. Go into Spotify, iTunes. Let us know how awesome we are. If you think we suck, you can just pretend like you didn't hear this. And with that, guys, thank you for listening. See you on the next one.